to Serbia. And after that moment, you can enter. European Union, no.
They basically barred me from Croatia. They mentioned I'm not allowed in the EU. They took up a whole page in the passport writing that. So let's take it back to where it all began. This is Liberland, an unrecognized micronation located between the borders of Croatia and Serbia. Every year, the Floating Man Festival is organized to gather the small population of Liberlandians. And as it showcases on the official promo video for this festival on YouTube, the purpose of it is to enjoy music, network, and see the progress that Liberland is making. I had to check it out. So I went online looking for the fastest flight to Liberland. And I went to the closest city of Belgrade, Serbia. So I packed my things and I took the long flight there. Also, I was planning to meet up with a friend of mine from the Netherlands. I'm going to have to take a bus from Belgrade, the capital of Serbia, all the way to Batina. Now, we did go to the festival location, which is in the Ark village, and this is what ended up happening. So nothing was going on, no one was there. As you saw from the promo video, the place seemed to be full of people, packed, but when we got there, there wasn't really much going on at all. So not what was advertised at all. And this was one of the first of many red flags on this journey, and we had no idea until we pretty much had to figure it out one by one. So Peter and I sat down to plan the possible ways to get into Liberland. And he was warning me about the Batina route, which is the fastest way to enter Croatia to get to Liberland.
You go and meet our guys, there's like 15 of them.
15 of them? Like they're customs?
Yeah.
Oh my
well,
God.
not customs.
And then from here...
But before I explain this route, let me tell you a few things that weren't captured on camera.
So after we arrive in Batina, we head over to the Ark village, and the first thing that we see is that the president of Liberland is chilling in swim trunks by the lake, tanning with his wife and kids. And then he tells us that everyone moved, Floating Man moved from the Ark village to Liberland. So we then looked around and we decided, okay, well, we're already here, so might as well go to Liberland. So the next steps was to find out the best way to get there. And so we met up with someone named Peter who showed us the different routes. And then the next step was after that was to find a ride to go over to Liberland.
Our plan for tomorrow is taking the Batina route, which has us driving a car from the Serbian Ark village into Croatia through the Batina border, and then from there into Liberland.
So I have just had a meeting here at the Ark, the main center, and I spoke with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and we're going to be heading over right now. So I'll be heading with the restaurant supplier, where we will be crossing in through a ferry or something like that, and then going to be just heading into Croatia through Hungary, and then from there into Liberland. But first, let me explain why getting into Liberland is such a difficult mission. This is Liberland 8 years ago. This place was an unwanted land because of border disagreements between Serbia and Croatia. After the Yugoslavian War, Croatia claimed it belonged to Serbia, whereas Serbia claimed it belonged to Croatia, which left this piece of land unwanted by nobody. Until Vit Jedlica showed up and claimed it for himself and declared the island a new country under the name of Liberland. As a result, Croatia didn't like the situation, so they put 24-hour surveillance to stop people from going into the island, making it impossible to walk on the land. So now we just crossed the Serbian border, and now we're heading into the Croatian one. This one's going to be a little more challenging, so let's see how it is. I don't want to get them offset by recording anything outright, so I'm just going to do the audio like before. After making our way through from Batina, we were stopped at the Croatian-Serbian border. So they're holding us up at the border, and we're making a long line here because they said you need an invite to go into Croatia. They're just processing the passports right now, and I'll see if I can record the rest of this convo. They didn't let us through.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you some questions here of your perspective on what happened.
Yeah, it was very interesting, right? So obviously we went from Serbia, we went to Liberland through the border in Croatia. The first night was because we came in late at night. I think, if I remember correctly, 8 9 p.m. We came
Yeah,
in.
I remember
Yeah.
I was at that Batina border.
Yes. Yeah.
And they pulled us in the food van aside to
Yes.
ask questions and whatnot, and then they pulled your car over behind us, and I remember that they were asking you guys questions, but they didn't let us go, but they let you guys go. I remember one of the guys in your car was trying to wave at us, and he was gonna get you guys detained as well.
Yeah. So I told him like, don't do this, right? I mean, the thing is like the association only can be already in like a risk
Guilt,
because we
yeah.
all yeah because all these guys were from Czech Republic.
I think he was Czech, yeah, but
Yeah.
no, there was, yeah, because we had people that were not EU. It was rough.
Yeah, it was very rough.
I wasn't going to give up and I had to find another plan. And then it hit me. The Hungarian plan is to ultimately enter Liberland, but instead of going to Croatia, we would enter through Hungary. And since Croatia and Hungary has open borders, I could enter Croatia from Hungary and then enter Liberland from there.
So we finished packing and I'm on the way to Liberland now. I'm here with Martin. We're gonna be, he's driving us and we're gonna be heading over. So we're going into Hungary, yeah, from Hungary, and then we're gonna go from Hungary into Croatia so that they don't give us any issues. We heard that there is a dispute of some sort, something about the houseboats being blocked, so we're gonna figure that out. But we have the food, we have all the stuff, so we're gonna bring the party.
So the next day we waited for the boat to take us to Liberland to arrive, and then we took that river on the Croatian waters, and after a few hours of border checks we finally made it through.
We're in Croatia? Yeah. Sweet.
Our next stop was to get to the boat pickup area and take the Liberlandian boat, the Swan. We went there and we found his car parked close to the location, but we found out that the police were surrounding the area.
Was that police? Police.
We were a little on edge because we thought they might have been waiting for anyone to go to Liberland to then arrest them, so we were a little concerned. When we reached the land border to Liberland, we discovered that it was blocked by Croatian police, so we decided that we had to take the riverboat to get to Liberland through the river.
Martin just dropped us off at the boat pickup point.
Luckily, we made it to the location without getting noticed by the police.
So this is what it looks like. The situation is changing every moment. The police are just mobilizing in different locations, and they're on notice that people are trying to get to Liberland, or a lot of them are today.
And moments later, the pickup boat arrived.
There is Vit, the president of Liberland, and the sailor, or the captain. So they're in this, they're in this square boat. It's called the Swan. We're gonna be going right there. They said they can hold 8 people. So this is gonna be tight. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 5 of us in total here.
And just like that, we set off into the river to Liberland. Right after we headed off into the river, a police boat saw us, and then they came at us and they held us for a couple hours to check everyone's documents and passports before eventually letting us go to continue to Liberland. It was only a few minutes later, after being released, that we went and saw the Liberland's Liberty houseboat in the distance.
So I'm in the main Liberland ship Liberty, and I've been checking things out. So this is the main area here. This is the bathroom. Okay, this is the process for flushing a Liberland toilet. So you grab a bucket, you go down to the Danube River, put some water up. You leave it here. Oh, someone needs to flush it. This is the side of the ship. This is the front, right here, that they've tied off to the tree there. We've got some other watercraft. We got a jet ski. We got one of these dinghies. And then we have an upstairs area where everyone's at right now. I want to show off the room right now. So I'm gonna go back here. So it's pretty crowded. Things are pretty unkempt, but okay, let's go over here. So this is the networking stack. This is, I think there's an issue with the battery. It's beeping. I don't think that's good. And this is the room I'm in. I got Eden. It's kind of a bathtub. It's kind of full of stuff right now. Here are the beds right here. So I got some bags here. Got the bed. It's actually quite roomy. It's got a sink over here. So this is the situation. I'm going to be checking a few other things out. Okay, so right now I'm going to be putting down my plot of Liberland. So this is the house, right? It was originally gonna be a toy house, but logistically that's kind of a challenge. So this is a pop-up tent. This will do for now. I'll put some stakes in it. I think everything's in there. I just need to grab a rock or a piece of wood to hit it down. So it's about a 20-minute, 30-minute walk to the camp from the entry points. But oh, I gotta bring my passport as well, just in case the Croats come for us. So I'll be getting that and then just heading down the path. This is Liberland. I'm bringing the house and the tent. Everyone's back there. So this trail is for cars, mainly the Croatian police, to go on. There's no other way to traverse, so we don't have quads or anything like that at the moment. So until this becomes more recognized with Liberland.
This is the part where I get arrested by the Croatians.
So at this point, the Croats had picked me up and they took me to the police station. They lied. They told me that, oh, we're only going to pick you up for 15 minutes and then you'll be back. So I didn't take a wallet or a power bank or anything with me. I thought I'd be coming back. I was definitely wrong. So they said they were going to take me and whatnot. It took probably about 20 to 30 minutes just for the car ride to the police station in the first place. So they kept me there, and then they were all speaking in Croatian, and they were just sitting there talking back and forth, staring at me, looking at me like, what am I doing? Trying to figure out what's going on. After a little while longer, they took me to the main police station. They just had me sit and wait. Basically, their tactics is they can legally keep people there for 4 hours or whatnot. So they were just letting people sit there and waste as much time as possible because they wanted to just get back at Liberlandians. It's pretty wild. But once I was in the police station, they were trying to essentially get me to say, hey, did you skip a passport check on the boat or whatnot? Because if I skipped that check, then they would have not had any justifications to pick me up, and they were trying to interrogate me, and the main guy was super angry. He was the main police chief of that region that was catching all of the Liberland people. They didn't really like them, and they didn't want them in there, so they were giving them all a hard time. And I had a recording device to be able to hear what was going on, so they were threatening me because we translated all of this from Croatian into English. Later, they were issuing threats. They weren't allowing me to get food. They didn't allow me to make any calls there or to charge my phone or anything. They were essentially leaving me to just deal with it, and it was getting really late. So they eventually let me out. They dropped me off in the middle of the road. No charged phone, no money, no nothing. And there was no city that had anything that was open really late. So it was terribly bad of an experience. It wasn't good. They did not like Liberlandians. They wanted to do what they possibly could to give them a hard time, to make the people that were going to Liberland suffer. And this was not the dynamic that was picked up at all from the videos of how Floating Man was going to work or anything like that. So this was a surprise to any of the attendees of Floating Man, and also just to the amusements of the local police department or whatnot. They were just giving people a hard time. My concern is someone could have died. Someone could have been left out and tried to walk back to Liberland or whatnot. It's 17 kilometers away from where they were dropping people off. And if they were treating a lot of people like this, where they were not giving them a phone or money or anything, someone could have fallen in the woods and gotten hit with some, maybe a wild boar could have came out. They were talking about that. So they were definitely neglecting the livelihood of the attendees, but also the organizers of Liberland, the president and the other staff. They knew that the police department did not want attendees there, and they didn't really mention it at all. And all the people who were picked up got to find out firsthand that they were kind of on their own. I met up with some people that came back at 2, 3 in the morning that were picked up by the police and were just released randomly, and they just walked back into Serbia. Now, the Serbians were fantastic. They helped me. The guards were talking with people that said, "Hey, you're going back to Apatin at midnight or 1 a.m." So they were really, really helpful. The Serbians were fantastic. The Croatians, specifically the police force there, they were not. They were definitely out to get anyone that was affiliated with Liberland. And I also didn't like the fact that when I was just out and about, a lot of people, and I hear this from my friend Timotheus at the camp, they didn't really care about what was going on at all. So you're going to hear about our conversation here of how his perspective was at the base camp and how the situation was handled when people get picked up and they disappear for hours or a half day or whatnot.
Well, it was super weird because you came on the boat and nothing's organized. Everybody's like, yeah, you might able sleep here, you might able sleep here, but the other guys like, yeah, you sleep here. And then the first day we're like, yeah, we go to the camp at night. I'm like, sure, let's go to the fucking camp. I'm very excited. It was like a 3 kilometers walk. I'm like, shit, man, it's actually, I'm not saying it's a lot, but it's a lot where you don't have flashlights or barely flashlight, and there's a lot where
At
you need
night,
to,
right?
yeah, at night, and you need to bring stuff with you. We came to the camp. I thought like, yeah, this camp is pretty much settled, but like you saw in the photos, it's far from settled. It's just a bunch of what can you call it? There's like some mattress on the ground. They have like some barbecue somewhere, and they call it settled. So there are people actually sleeping there, and I was amazed that people actually doing it. And Vic was not even there for long. No, Vic wasn't there in the first day. In fact, at least not in the camp. He was there, and he went back home. Sorry. He was there. He slept outside in the camp, and I went back to the boat. Next day, we woke up, I think at 10 a.m. or something, and everybody started doing stuff. There was no control. There was no organization. There was no plan. Everybody was just doing whatever. And you have some people say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. And no, you can really see when people are not the work type. There was some Syrians, I assume they hired in, and they brought in, and these guys actually workers, because I assume they got paid. So they were doing actually the work. It's just a bunch of fuckfest, because you have a bunch of people, they came in not with the mindset to come working. So the logistics are not there.
Okay, I just crossed the Croatian border here at Batina, where they basically barred me from Croatia. Even though it doesn't say the EU, they mentioned explicitly also that I'm not allowed in the EU for a month starting from today. They took up a whole page in the passport writing that. It's in Croatian with bits and pieces in English, but I'm curious to where it says the ban from the EU, but they told me that, and then I have a document in Croatian that says something about the EU apparently. So when I get back, I will translate that and figure out what's going on. But I'm walking into Serbia right now, and then once I cross over, then I'll be calling a taxi and heading back to Apatin.
Thankfully, I made it out of Liberland, but it seemed that my friend Timotheus was still stuck there.
I didn't, so let me give him background. So I don't know anything about Liberland, right? So obviously you asked me to come. So I don't know how the government system is set up. I don't know really what they stand for. Okay, Liberland, like, yeah, liberal. but I don't know to what degree it
Liberty,
is.
yes.
Yeah, liberal liberty to a degree what it is. So if I need to put it in this perspective, I don't know anything just to come with it and see what's going on is super hard. So how do you build a nation or a country then when no one really have a leading aspect? You know, everybody has own opinion. Everybody has own opinion. You know, half of the people want to go left, half of the people go right. I don't think you can build really a country up when you don't have a leading figure, and I think we can all agree on, because there's just too much noise and opinion, and a lot of people don't have the expertise because everybody is in for themselves. They might think what they do is good, but then they only think about themselves, right? They don't see the future. They don't see what's going on, what the country wants to be. I think about the government style or the people or Vic or whatever is who's there. Maybe he has, but I don't think he communicate clear the roadmap, what's going on, what needs to be done. Yeah, he was busy with everything, but not with the people there. I can tell you that. He was just more, what you say, drawing in more people, and then no one's really taken care of. I mean, there was barely food. Let me put it in that play in this way.
So I'm here at the Belgrade airport, and they let me through. They're asking some questions about some stamps, but I'm gonna be entering the bus to board the plane here pretty shortly, and then I should be on the plane headed to Budapest, and then from there hopefully get through the customs gate and go and figure out if the Croatians were telling the truth or not. I don't think so, but we're gonna find out. Okay, I'm here at the plane. We just got off the bus, and I'm gonna be heading to Budapest. So, no thanks. So it seems like there's no issues with that, and yeah, here we go. Croatia, we'll see if you're right or not. All right, I'm getting off the plane here in Budapest and heading to the bus. So the big moment is customs to see if they'll let me through. And if I make it through that, then I'll have made it with no issues. I just made it into Hungary with no problems. So I'm here. I've made it through. There was no issues at all. Stamped. Just had to take off my passport cover. So, looks like I've got no problems. Croatia, you were lying. You were trying to BS me. Here I am. And I'm enjoying Budapest.
Fun.